Hello, my name is Robert Goodspeed. I'm a PhD student in Urban Studies and Planning here at the MIT, and I wanted to thank the organizers for inviting me to talk today. It looks like a very interesting and engaging day. I'm sorry I can't join you in person. However, I did want to talk briefly here during my lightning talk about the concept of crowdsourcing, which I think is very related to participation in planning. Last fall, I completed a study of online participation and other participatory techniques in Austin, Texas. And as you can see, I looked at things like the demographic representation of participants and how each of the channels, including Facebook, Twitter, blogging, was being used by participants. Really, what I thought about through this process was all of this participation was happening, and there was this complex system of participants engaging in multiple ways, but the actors themselves had very different conceptions of what the purpose of participation was. For example, some of the more organizing-minded folks wanted to actually shift policy. The planners just wanted to get some input for their plan. And I think this brings us to three kind of regular conceptions or approaches to participation in planning. And these are going to be familiar to all of us, but are useful in framing what the possibilities or alternatives could be. We all want techniques that are flexible and appropriate. However, unfortunately, the most common type is sort of this regular participation. We have public meetings, and we're often measuring things. We're measuring how much input do we get, how many comments, how many participants, and it's the kind of default status for a lot of participation. And here's the canonical public meeting with the man video recording. The second type really maximizes the engagement and interactivity. So in this case, this is an example using an interactive video game. There's lots of examples of very innovative practices, often with youth, intergenerational planning. However, these processes are often done absent the policy context. And then last is the gold standard here, the high touch, interactive participatory process. Often involves lots of staff time, specialized consultants, and of course, a big project budget. And what I want to do is shift from this to new forms of collaboration that are being made possible by the internet and modern communications technologies more generally. So the term is called crowdsourcing, and I've defined what I think are 6 different conceptions of crowdsourcing that we can learn as planners and people concerned with the public good. So just as a word of introduction, crowdsourcing was invented by a journalist in 2006, and he was thinking of it as an alternative to outsourcing, quote, taking a function performed by employees and outsourcing it to an undefined group of people. So you can see since then there's over 6 million hits on Google, and the number of hits on Google Books has begun to explode. So the first of our 6 is distributed data collection. This is the practice of using citizens to collect information. It's been done widely for emergency response here, the Ushahidi or CrowdMap tool being used in Haiti. And then on the left is a project that I was involved in about vacant property in Washington, D.C. The next Professor Sanchez is very familiar with. This is the next stop design. So saying, look, a lot of participation is about coming up with innovative design solutions. Why don't we use the web to collect these solutions and get people to vote and comment on them? And in this case, it was a bus stop. But you could imagine lots of other designs could be done. The third conception is one of collective intelligence. So these theorists say, look, we're all very limited in our own way. We're little bees, but if we work together cooperatively, we could build a beautiful hive. And so the Future Melbourne project was creating a wiki to aggregate ideas for a plan for Melbourne, Australia. And then the kind of most provocative one is, this is Tim O'Reilly from O'Reilly Media Publishing Company, and he gave a speech called Government as a Platform for Greatness. And the example here is, just like YouTube is a platform for your videos, the government shouldn't plow the streets, it should actually provide snowblowers that we can rent and check out and share in order to clear the streets. And so you may be thinking immediately that these models are leave something lacking, so to speak. And I think at their worst, they're kind of a libertarian pipe dream. So what I'm interested in is more nuanced, rich models that show how we can connect these new practices to institutions like government. And so the first of these 2 much more rich conceptions comes from the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence. These people analyzed 3 different collaborative projects, and they concluded that these projects succeeded because they combined multiple approaches in innovative ways. And then finally, the open innovation movement is companies that are convinced that we can use technology to both improve the flow of information within our organizations or corporations from the bottom level all the way up to the mayor or the CEO, and that we can do this in a way that's transparent to citizens. This is a project in Texas. And so finally, to conclude, I mean, this is the flow chart from my Austin study that they produced, and you can see the online participation is really just a narrow bar. I think these models present a wide range of things we could be doing with online participation to begin to learn from crowdsourcing, learn from the success of these projects. And just a final plea, unless we begin to think critically about what these new models can provide and what's possible with the new technology, we won't be open to new arrangements that can quite possibly be very innovative and help push our professional practice forward into a new frontier. And so my information is here. The Austin paper is on my website. You can follow me on Twitter, and I'm happy to follow up. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.